Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and your knees ache before your feet even touch the floor. You make your way to the kitchen, slowly, carefully, because your balance isn't quite what it used to be. You pour your coffee, but even that doesn't sit right anymore. Your stomach feels off. Acid creeps up your throat. And it's only 8 a.m. You rub your hands together because they're stiff. You stretch your neck, hoping the tension might ease. You look in the mirror and you wonder, is this just aging? Is this just the way life has to be now? You've probably tried it all. Pain pills, ointments that promise relief but smell like medicine cabinets. Maybe even some herbs you read about online. But nothing sticks. Everything feels temporary. Now pause and take a slow look at that little orange box in the back of your fridge. The one you only think about when your freezer smells weird. Yeah, that one. Baking soda. What if I told you that little box, so simple, so overlooked, might hold the key to helping you feel better, move easier, and breathe a little lighter? Because here's the truth. For many seniors, those small daily discomforts aren't just part of getting older. They're signals, messages from your body. And sometimes the answers don't come in fancy bottles or expensive prescriptions. Sometimes the answer has been sitting right in your kitchen cabinet this whole time. You see, baking soda isn't just for cookies, and it's not just for cleaning out the sink. It's been quietly helping folks for generations. For digestion, for pain, for energy, for skin, even for breath and balance. But no one talks about that because we're taught to reach for the quick fix, the flashy label, the next appointment. But maybe there's wisdom in simplicity. And today I'm going to share something with you that's too important to ignore. Because by the end of this video, you'll know 7 real, powerful, and practical ways that baking soda can support your health, especially if you're over 60. These aren't gimmicks. They're things you can actually do, safely, naturally, from home. And listen, if you've ever used baking soda for something other than baking, maybe a little paste for a bug bite, or a sprinkle in your shoes to keep the smell away, then drop a comment below and say, I have. Let's see how many of us have been sitting on this quiet little remedy without even knowing its full power. And if this kind of content speaks to your soul, if you care about aging with strength, dignity, and gentle wisdom, then please tap that subscribe button. Here at Next Chapter Wisdom, we don't just talk about health. We talk about life, your life, and the everyday things that can help you live it just a little better. Now let's get into it. Because once you see what baking soda can do, you'll never look at that little orange box the same way again. Let's start with something almost every senior has felt. That burning sensation in your chest. You know the one. You sit down to a light dinner, maybe just a little rice, a few bites of chicken, a small piece of bread. Nothing heavy, nothing greasy. But an hour later, you're shifting in your seat, pressing your palm to your chest. The warmth rises into your throat. It stings. You try to lie down, but it gets worse. Feels like the food's stuck, like something's bubbling up and trying to escape. It's not just uncomfortable, it can be scary. And it's more common than people think. You might assume it's something you ate. You might think your body's just getting finicky. But here's the truth. As we age, our stomach doesn't produce acid like it used to. And that may sound like a good thing. Less acid, less burn, right? Not quite. When stomach acid drops too low, your body actually struggles to digest food properly. That undigested food, it sits there, and eventually it pushes back up into your esophagus, causing reflux, heartburn, and that all too familiar discomfort. Now, most people, especially seniors, are handed a bottle of antacids. Pop one or two, and yes, they might bring temporary relief. But long-term, those antacids can mess with your body's mineral balance, especially your magnesium, calcium, and potassium, nutrients you desperately need as you age. Here's where baking soda quietly steps in. One of the simplest, most natural ways to ease that acid buildup. Just half a teaspoon, stir gently into a glass of water. Wait for it to dissolve, sip it slowly, and within minutes you may start to feel that pressure soften, that burn calm down, that restless belly finally settle. Now don't overdo it. This isn't something you take every day. It's not a long-term replacement for medical advice. But when used moderately, once in a while after a heavy or acidic meal, it can offer the kind of comfort that doesn't come in a shiny box. It's a little like grandma's remedies, gentle, wise, and right there when you need it most. And when your stomach finds peace, your whole body rests a little easier. But indigestion isn't the only thing that sneaks up on us with age. Let's move from the inside to the outside, because now we're going to talk about those aching joints, those knees, those shoulders, that lower back. You know what I mean, that stiffness that greets you in the morning and lingers through the day. Let's talk about how baking soda might help ease joint pain and inflammation. Not the kind that comes from an injury, but the kind that just shows up and stays. Maybe it's your knees, creaky and stiff when you get out of bed, or your hands, tight in the morning, slow to open, hard to grip that coffee mug. Or maybe it's your lower back, that dull, heavy throb that whispers, "You're not as young as you used to be." Now picture this. Mrs. Allen, she's 72. Every time it rained, her knees would start singing. Not in a joyful way, but in that sharp, achy, you better sit down kind of tune. She tried heating pads, over-the-counter rubs, stretching, even changed her diet. Some things helped, others didn't. Then one evening, her daughter came by. They were sitting on the porch, sipping tea, and she said, "Mom, have you ever tried a baking soda soak?" Mrs. Allen laughed. "You mean for cookies?" But her daughter insisted, "Just try it, a warm soak with a little baking soda." So that night, she filled a basin with warm water, added 2 tablespoons of baking soda, and lowered her aching legs in. 20 minutes later, something shifted. Not a miracle, not a cure, but a noticeable softness, like the tension had lifted just a bit. She did it again the next day, and again the next week. And soon those rainy mornings didn't feel so cruel. Now what's happening here? Well, your body, especially as it ages, tends to accumulate more acid in the tissues. Stress, poor digestion, even certain medications, all of these can contribute. When that acidity builds up, it causes inflammation. And where there's inflammation, there's pain. Baking soda, believe it or not, has natural properties that help neutralize excess acid. It gently encourages the body's pH to shift toward balance. That's why so many seniors find relief in a warm soak. Not just the heat, but the baking soda itself seems to ease the tension in muscles and joints. Now let's be clear, this isn't a magic potion. It won't reverse arthritis or replace your doctor. But for many, it brings comfort, a natural, inexpensive, and peaceful kind of comfort. And maybe that's what you need more of, relief without side effects, ease without fear, a moment of stillness in a world that always tells you to push through the pain. So the next time your joints feel heavy, swollen, or stiff, try it. Fill your tub or a large basin. Add 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Soak for 20 minutes. Light a candle if you'd like. Play soft music. Give your body permission to rest because you've earned that peace. And while you're there, let's think about something else that changes as we age. Your skin. You see, your skin tells a story of time, of strength, of survival. But sometimes it itches, it flakes, it gets irritated for no clear reason. Now let's talk about something that might seem small, but can feel relentless. Itchy, dry skin. You know the feeling. You wake up in the middle of the night scratching your arm without even realizing it. There's a patch near your elbow that feels like sandpaper. Behind your knees, redness. Maybe even your back itches in that one spot you can never quite reach. You've tried lotion, then thicker lotion, then creams in tubes with ingredients you can't pronounce. Sometimes they help, but often it's short-lived. And worse, some of them leave your skin greasy. Or even thinner over time. You start wondering, is this just what happens to skin after 60? Is this the new normal? Not necessarily, because here's something gentle, something overlooked, that's been used for generations: baking soda. Let me explain. As we age, our skin naturally becomes drier. We produce less oil, and the protective barrier, that invisible shield that keeps moisture in, starts to thin. That's why your skin may feel more sensitive, more reactive, more fragile. Now add in cold weather, long baths, certain soaps, and yes, even medications. And your skin gets pushed to its limit. Here's where baking soda comes in, quietly and kindly. It has mild anti-inflammatory properties. It's naturally antiseptic without being harsh. And most importantly, it's soothing to irritated aging skin. You don't need fancy bottles or miracle labels. Sometimes it's as simple as a warm bath with a few tablespoons of baking soda. Let it dissolve, soak your body, close your eyes. Or, if there's just a patch or two that needs attention, mix a little baking soda with water to make a soft paste. Gently apply it. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Rinse it off, pat dry, and always follow up with a light moisturizer. You'll be amazed at how your skin responds to something so simple. Something without chemicals, without fragrances, without side effects. And here's the truth. Most people think they need stronger solutions. But stronger doesn't always mean better. Especially for skin that's been through seasons, through decades, through everything life has thrown at it. Your skin deserves calm. It deserves care. And it deserves to be treated with the same gentleness you've given to others all your life. So next time that itch sneaks in, before you reach for another harsh cream, try something older, something quieter, something your grandmother might have kept by the sink. Baking soda. It might just be the relief you've been looking for. Now, while we're caring for the outside, let's not forget what's happening on the inside. Because there's one part of your body that works quietly, tirelessly, and often doesn't speak up until something's already wrong. I'm talking about your kidneys, and the surprising way baking soda might help support them. Coming up next, they don't ache, they don't swell up where you can see them, they don't make noise, but they're working every second, filtering your blood, balancing your fluids, helping control your blood pressure, and quietly protecting you from toxins. And here's the tricky part. You usually don't know they're in trouble until the damage is already done. Take Mr. James, for example. 68 years old, no major health complaints, a little tired now and then, but nothing unusual. He figured he was just getting older. Then during a routine checkup, his doctor frowned at the numbers. His kidneys were under stress. He had no idea. And this isn't rare. For many seniors, kidney function begins to decline gradually, silently. There's no flashing red light, no sharp pain to grab your attention, just quiet wear and tear year after year. So what can you do? Well, here's where baking soda becomes more than just a kitchen staple. Some studies, particularly in early-stage kidney research, suggest that baking soda, or sodium bicarbonate, may help slow the progression of chronic kidney issues. Why? Because it helps the body neutralize acid. You see, when your kidneys are struggling, acid begins to build up in your blood. That's called metabolic acidosis, and it puts even more strain on your system. A small amount of baking soda, when taken under medical supervision, can reduce that acid load. It's not a cure, but for some, it's a gentle way to take pressure off the kidneys and buy the body more time to heal and stabilize. Now, let me be very clear here. This is not something you do on your own. You must talk to your doctor first. Everyone's body is different. What works for one person might not be safe for another, especially if you're managing blood pressure or watching your sodium. But if your doctor gives the green light, a carefully measured dose, just 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon in water, may be introduced to help your body stay balanced. Because in the world of aging, prevention is power. And supporting your kidneys before they cry out for help might be one of the wisest things you ever do for yourself. It's a quiet way to say, I care about the parts of me no one else sees. I want to feel better, longer. So don't wait for the warning signs. Ask questions, be proactive, and keep listening to the signals your body whispers every day. Now, while we're talking about health and dignity, let's shift to something a little more personal. Something that affects confidence, connection, and even relationships. I'm talking about oral health. Yes, fresh breath, clean teeth. That moment when you lean in to talk and wonder if everything's okay. You might not talk about it often, but you feel it. That moment when you sit at a family dinner and someone leans in close. You want to join the conversation, but you hesitate. You worry about your breath or your dentures, or that dry, sticky feeling you just can't shake. Maybe you've been there. You cover your mouth when you laugh. You speak softly to avoid drawing attention. You even skip certain foods, not because you don't love them, but because chewing has become uncomfortable. You're not alone. Oral health is one of the most quietly frustrating struggles that comes with age. And it's not about vanity, it's about comfort. It's about feeling good when you smile, feeling confident when you speak, feeling like yourself. Now, most people reach for mouthwash. It's easy, it's quick, it's minty. But here's the thing. Most mouthwashes contain alcohol, which dries out the mouth even more. And a dry mouth? That's the perfect place for odor-causing bacteria to grow. It's a cycle, and it doesn't always help. But here's something simple, something natural, something gentle enough to use without fear. Baking soda. Baking soda is what they call a mild abrasive. That means it can clean without scratching. It lifts stains, neutralizes odors, and fights bacteria without harming your gums or the delicate tissue inside your mouth. It doesn't mask bad breath, it actually helps fix what's causing it. So here's what you can do. Once a day, especially in the morning or after a meal, make a paste with a little water and a pinch of baking soda, just enough to coat your toothbrush. Gently brush your teeth, your tongue, even along the gum line. Rinse thoroughly with warm water. Or if brushing isn't an option, simply dissolve half a teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of water and use it as a mouth rinse. Swish, spit, smile. You'll be amazed at how fresh your mouth feels, not from chemicals, but from clarity, from balance. And if you wear dentures, you can still use baking soda to clean them gently. No harsh scrubbing, no artificial cleansers, just a light polish and a sense of peace when you put them back in. Because your smile still matters, your voice still matters, and your presence in the room, whether it's with grandkids or old friends, shouldn't be shadowed by worry. So give yourself that small gift, a clean mouth, a confident grin, the kind that says, I'm still here and I still shine. And speaking of presence, let's talk about something deeper, something you might feel in your bones, in your steps, in your breathing. That quiet, nagging sense of fatigue. Let's see how baking soda might play a role in giving your muscles and your energy just a little more life. Let me ask you something. Have you ever walked to the mailbox just a few steps from your front door and felt like you needed to sit down afterward? You stand there, hand on your hip, pretending to look at the trees, but really, you're catching your breath. Or maybe it's just climbing the stairs, putting away groceries, even showering. You tell yourself, I'm just tired today. But then you say it again tomorrow and the next day. It's easy to chalk it up to age, to sleep, to stress. And sure, those things matter. But sometimes it's something deeper. Your body might not be out of fuel. It might just be out of balance. See, energy isn't just about rest. It's about how well your muscles work, how efficiently your cells fire, and how your internal systems manage things like hydration, acid levels, and electrolytes. And that's where baking soda once again surprises us. You might not think of it as an energy booster, but in small, safe amounts, baking soda can support the body's electrolyte balance. It helps buffer lactic acid, that thing that builds up in your muscles when you're exerting yourself. It also supports pH regulation, which can help you feel less sluggish and more stable. Let me explain it in a simple way. When your body is too acidic, your muscles have to work harder. Even everyday movements feel heavier, more tiring, and your body spends extra energy just trying to compensate. Now imagine giving it a little help, a gentle nudge back toward balance. Some seniors have found that sipping a quarter teaspoon of baking soda in a glass of water before mild physical activity, like a morning walk or some light chores, can help their muscles feel looser, their breath feel easier, and their energy just a bit brighter. Now let me be clear, this isn't a cure for chronic fatigue. It's not a replacement for good sleep, a healthy diet, or movement. And it's not something you take every day, but it's a gentle tool. Another small, natural way to support your body rather than push it. Because sometimes your body isn't tired from doing too much. It's tired from trying to keep everything balanced without support. Give it that support, but always in moderation. And if you're ever unsure, talk to your doctor. Now, before we close this chapter, I want to touch on something deeply personal, something we rarely say out loud, but almost all of us deal with. especially as we age. It's about staying fresh, feeling clean, managing the quiet discomfort of body odor, and the confidence that comes with knowing you're still showing up fully and proudly in every room. You get dressed for a doctor's appointment, you straighten your collar, fix your hair, check the mirror. But there's that one lingering worry. Do I smell all right? And for someone like Mr. Brown, 75 years old, that concern became daily. He'd always been clean, always taken pride in his appearance, but lately something changed. He started sweating more, even on cooler days, even when he was just sitting quietly at home. He tried switching deodorants, tried those clinical strength brands, tried sprays that promised 48-hour protection, but they left his skin irritated, itchy, red. And worse, they didn't always work. His confidence started to fade. He began avoiding social gatherings, didn't want to sit too close to anyone, didn't hug his grandkids as tightly. Then someone gave him a tip, a simple one: baking soda, that same powder he used to keep the fridge fresh. Turns out, it's one of the oldest, safest, most natural ways to stay fresh and odor-free. Why? Because baking soda does more than mask odor. It neutralizes it at the source. It balances pH. And it stops the bacteria, the real cause of odor, from growing in the first place. You see, sweat itself isn't the problem. It's what happens when sweat sits on the skin and mixes with bacteria. That's when odor forms. And while many store-bought deodorants try to stop sweat altogether, they do it with aluminum compounds, synthetic fragrances, and chemicals that can be harsh on aging skin. Baking soda, on the other hand, is clean. It's non-toxic, it's effective, and it's kind to the skin, especially when used gently and in moderation. Here's a simple tip. Mix a teaspoon of baking soda with just enough water to form a soft paste. Apply a tiny amount under your arms. Let it sit for a moment, then gently pat it dry. Some even add a drop of coconut oil for extra smoothness. And it's not just for underarms. Sprinkle a little into your shoes or inside your socks, especially on warmer days. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Now, yes, some folks may have a bit of sensitivity. If you ever notice redness or irritation, ease back. Everyone's skin is different. But for many seniors, this small switch has brought back something powerful. Confidence. Confidence to raise your arms. Confidence to walk into a room without worry. Confidence to feel fresh and proud of how you show up in the world. And that confidence, it matters because it's not about being perfect. It's about feeling comfortable in your own body, feeling in control of your aging, feeling aware but not afraid. Now, you might be thinking, all of this from baking soda? Yes, 7 simple uses. 7 everyday problems that so many seniors deal with quietly, and 7 gentle, affordable, natural ways to take your health and your dignity back into your own hands. These tips might seem small, but their impact? Life-changing. Because when you feel better, you move better, you rest better, you connect more deeply with the people you love, and you walk through your day with a quiet strength that says, I've got this. Now let's take a moment to reflect and talk about what all this really means for your journey, your health, and your next chapter in life. We know how scary it can feel. When your body starts doing things you don't understand. When something that used to be simple, like eating a meal or tying your shoes, suddenly takes more effort. When discomfort becomes a daily visitor, and your reflection in the mirror shows someone you still recognize. But don't always feel like. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to feel frustrated, to wonder if you're doing enough, to wish someone would just sit beside you and say, you're not crazy, you're not broken, this is just part of the path. Because here's the truth, these changes in your body, they're not signs of failure, they're not punishments, they're not even problems. They're messages, quiet reminders that the body, like any good companion, needs attention and care. And while we often rush to fix things with prescriptions, appointments, and procedures, sometimes, just sometimes, the answers lie in simpler places. In a warm bath with a pinch of baking soda, in a glass of water with half a teaspoon stirred gently before a walk, in a dab of paste under your arms that helps you walk into a room with confidence again. These aren't cures, they're tools. Support Small, thoughtful acts that say, I still matter. I still want to feel good in my body. I'm not giving up. I'm learning how to care differently. So here's what I encourage you to do. Don't try all 7 things at once. Don't overwhelm yourself with change. Just pick one method that spoke to you. Maybe it's a foot soak. Maybe it's brushing your teeth with a little baking soda paste. Maybe it's a quick rinse to soothe heartburn after dinner. Try it this week. Let your body respond. Notice how you feel. Let that awareness guide the next small step. Because the truth is, you're not alone. Not now, not ever. Aging is a journey. And like every journey, it's easier when you walk with wisdom, with grace, and with people who see you. And that's what we do here. At Next Chapter Wisdom, we remind you that your next chapter isn't a slow fade. It's a gentle unfolding. A season of reflection, of healing, of rediscovering the power in quiet, intentional choices. So if today reminded you of your strength, of your worth, of your ability to live not just longer, but better, then know this, you're doing just fine. You're on the right path, and even the smallest changes can make the biggest difference. You've got this, and we're right here with you. Let's take a moment to gently walk back through everything we've explored today, because sometimes just hearing it again helps it truly sink in. Baking soda, that humble little powder sitting quietly in your kitchen, may do more for your health than you ever imagined. To recap, it may help relieve uncomfortable heartburn and indigestion, ease stubborn joint pain and inflammation, soothe itchy, dry, or irritated skin, support your kidneys when they're working hard behind the scenes, refresh and clean your mouth and teeth, offer support when you're battling fatigue, and even keep you feeling fresh and confident by naturally managing body odor. All that from something that most people overlook, from something you might already have in your cupboard right now. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which one of these health concerns do you deal with most often? Was there a tip in today's video that truly surprised you? Something that made you pause and think, why didn't I know this sooner? Let's talk in the comments below. I read each and every one, and your thoughts might help someone else feel seen and supported. And if today's video made you take a second look at something as simple as baking soda, if it made you feel a little more hopeful, a little more in control, then I kindly ask, give this video a like. It helps more people like you find these messages. People searching for answers, for clarity, for comfort. And if you haven't already, I warmly invite you to subscribe to this channel, Next Chapter Wisdom, because that's what we're about here. Not just information, but understanding. Not just surviving, but thriving in this next stage of life. One step at a time, one story at a time, one breath at a time. So as we wrap up today, take care of your body, take care of your heart, and take comfort in the fact that you're not walking this path alone. Your next chapter isn't behind you. It's just beginning. And we're here to walk it with you, with patience, with purpose, and with wisdom. I'll see you in the next video.